Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. Imagine a very big desert land. This land is the Arabian Peninsula. For a very long time, this large area was not one country. Instead, many different groups of people lived here. These groups were called tribes. Each tribe was like a small nation with its own leader. They lived in different parts of the desert and along the coasts. Life could be hard in the desert, and water was important. Sometimes the tribes were friendly and traded, but often they fought over land or water or power. There was no single ruler for all this land. It was divided into many small areas controlled by different tribes and local leaders. Then, a strong and determined man appeared. His name was Abdulaziz ibn Saud. He was from a family that had been important in the region before. Abdulaziz ibn Saud had a big vision. He did not want the land to be divided anymore. He wanted to unite all the different tribes and regions into one large, strong kingdom. This was a huge and difficult job. The land was vast, and the tribes were independent and proud. Abdulaziz ibn Saud knew he needed more than just wishes. He needed a plan and courage. His journey to make one kingdom took many, many years. He started with a small group of loyal followers. He fought many battles against other leaders and groups who did not want to join him, but he was also smart. He talked to tribal leaders and made agreements with them. He promised them security and a place in the new kingdom. He traveled far across the desert, convincing some, fighting others. He brought people from different areas together, slowly building support for a united nation. It was a long and often dangerous process. Step by step, Abdulaziz ibn Saud brought more land under his control. The independent tribes became part of a larger entity. His efforts continued for years, uniting different parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Finally, his hard work came to its most important moment. In the year 1932, after many battles and agreements, the new country was officially created. It was called the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, named in honor of the family that made it happen. This was a new beginning. This book is about the story of this new country, born from the desert and bringing many people together under one flag. 2. Old times in the desert. The land that is now Saudi Arabia is very old. It is called the Arabian Peninsula. This land did not always look the same. Over millions of years, the climate changed many times. Sometimes it was a dry desert like today, but other times it received more rain and became a green land with grass and trees. These green periods could last for many thousands of years. People first came to this land a very long time ago during the green times. When the climate changed back to dry, life was harder. People had to learn to live with little water. They settled near places with water like oases. They found new ways to get food and survive in the desert. The Arabian Peninsula was in an important place. It was like a bridge between big old countries far away. People needed to travel between these countries to trade goods. The fastest way was often across the Arabian land. Caravans of camels carried goods over the desert, stopping at oasis towns. Towns on the coast also became important places for ships and trade from different parts of the world. This trade helped the people on the peninsula. A very big change happened in the 7th century. In the city of Mecca, a man named Mohammed received messages he said were from God. This was the start of the religion called Islam. Islam began to grow and spread. Mecca became the most important city for people who followed Islam. Muslims from many places wanted to visit Mecca. They made a special religious trip called the Hajj. Because of Islam and the Hajj, Mecca became a famous center for religion and visitors from around the world. The Arabian Peninsula was part of some of the first big Islamic empires. Later, other strong countries outside the region became interested in this land. The Ottoman Empire and the British Empire, for example, wanted to control parts of the peninsula. They often supported different local groups to gain power and influence there. The land saw many changes as empires rose and fell around it. 3. New ideas, first steps. In the 18th century, new ideas came to the Arabian Peninsula. A religious man, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Wahhab, felt that many Muslims were not following the original and true teachings of Islam. He wanted people to live simply and worship God directly without adding new practices. His teachings became known as Wahhabism. Because of his ideas, he faced opposition and had to leave his town. He traveled and found a safe place in Diriyah, a town ruled by Mohammed bin Saud. In 1745, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Wahhab and Mohammed bin Saud formed an important partnership, an alliance. Under this agreement, the state of Diriyah adopted the sheikh's religious ideas. In return, the sheikh's teachings supported the rule of Mohammed bin Saud and his family. These teachings said that the state of Diriyah was the correct leader for Muslims who followed these pure ideas. This alliance of religious and political power helped Diriyah grow stronger. This partnership led to the establishment of the first Saudi state based in Diriyah. Using the new ideas as a unifying force, the state began to expand its control. Its armies conquered many towns and areas across the central parts of the Arabian Peninsula. A major achievement was the conquest of the holy cities. The first Saudi state took control of Mecca in 1803 and Medina in 1806. These cities were very important for Muslims everywhere and were under the influence of the Ottoman Empire. Taking them showed the strength and ambition of the new Saudi state. This expansion caused problems with the large Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans had ruled or influenced many parts of the Middle East for a long time, but their power was getting weaker. They saw the growing first Saudi state and the spread of Wahhabism as a big threat to their remaining control in the region. Wahhabist preachers were teaching ideas that challenged Ottoman authority. To stop this, the Ottoman Empire decided to act. In 1811, they ordered the ruler of Egypt, who was under their control, to send a large army to invade the first Saudi state. The war lasted for about 7 years. The Egyptian army fighting for the Ottomans had better military technology, especially powerful cannons called artillery. The forces of the first Saudi state fought fiercely, driven by their strong beliefs. However, the modern weapons of the Egyptian army were too much for them. The Ottoman forces reached the capital city, Diriyah, and used their artillery to attack it. The city was heavily damaged and destroyed. The strong belief of the Wahhabist fighters was not enough to defeat the superior military force sent by the Ottomans. The first Saudi state was defeated and its capital city was made uninhabitable. This marked the end of the first Saudi state, but the story of the Saud family and their ideas was not over. 4. Trying again. After the first state was destroyed, the Saud family did not forget their dream. They wanted to rule the land again. This was not easy, but members of the family started working to get their power back. One man, Turki bin Abdullah, was strong and determined. He was part of the Saud family. He decided to try and build a new state. In the year 1824, he led a group and took control of the city of Riyadh. This city was important. Turkey made Riyadh the new capital city for the Saud family. Here, he started the second Saudi state. It was called the Emirate of Nejd. The new state began well. Turkey and his followers were successful. They fought and took control of a large area of land. They won back much of the territory that the first state had ruled before. It looked like the Saud family was becoming strong again. But the big powers nearby did not want this. The Ottoman Empire and Egypt watched the Saud family grow. They did not want the Saudis to become powerful again. In 1838, the ruler who followed Turkey was captured by Egyptian forces. Egypt put a person they controlled in charge of the Emirate of Nejd. This person was like a puppet following Egypt's orders. However, after only 2 years, Egypt had problems in their own country. They needed their soldiers back, so they left the area. The puppet ruler was removed. A new ruler from the Saud family took the throne. This ruler chose a different path. He focused on building trade and making farming better instead of fighting wars. This brought a time of peace to the land. But this peace did not last forever. When this ruler died in 1865, his sons started fighting very badly. They all wanted to be the leader. This fighting caused big problems inside the ruling family and the state. Some of the sons asked the Ottoman Empire for help against their brothers. The Ottomans saw this as a chance. In the 1860s, the Ottoman Empire was weaker than before, but they were still strong enough for the divided Saud family. They used the family's fight as a reason to invade the Arabian Peninsula again. The Ottomans defeated the Saud family's forces. They removed the Saud family from power once more. They put their own person in charge and divided the land into smaller parts to rule it more easily. The Ottomans had better weapons and soldiers, and the Saudis were fighting among themselves. The Saud family was defeated again. In the year 1891, the last Saudi leader of this second state had to leave. The Emirate of Nejd ended. The Saud family had lost their state for the second time. They had to leave their home and go to another place. They went to Kuwait, where they found safety. But even there, the dream of having their own state again stayed with them. They would wait and plan to try one more time. 5. A new leader, a new start. After the second Saudi state ended, the Saud family was in a difficult place. But one young man, Abdulaziz ibn Saud, wanted to try again. He was only a teenager when his family lost power. In 1902, he took action. Abdulaziz ibn Saud gathered a small group, just 40 men. They went to the city of Riyadh at night. It was the old capital. They made a surprise attack and took the city. This was the start of the third Saudi state. It was called the Emirate of Riyadh. Taking one city was not enough. Abdulaziz needed more land and more people. He looked for friends and helpers in the Nejd area. People knew he was brave because he took Riyadh with so few men. He talked to different tribes. He asked them to join him. He promised they would win battles together. Many tribes agreed to follow him. Step by step, he took more land in Nejd. By around 1906, he ruled the southern part of Nejd. By about 1912, he controlled most of the Nejd area. Then he had a problem with the Ottoman Empire again. They controlled some land that Abdulaziz wanted. In 1913, they fought for a place called Al-Hassa. Abdulaziz and his men fought hard. The Ottomans had better weapons, but they had trouble in the hot desert. Abdulaziz won the fight and took Al-Hassa. Now the state was bigger. Its name changed to the Emirate of Nejd and Hassa. To help him rule and fight, Abdulaziz created a special group called the Ikhwan. These were loyal fighters. They were also very religious. They followed strict rules from Islam called Wahhabism. The Ikhwan helped Abdulaziz unite the people. They helped make sure everyone followed the same religious ideas. They were a strong army for Abdulaziz. They helped build a more stable country based on these shared ideas. Abdulaziz showed himself as the protector of these religious ideas. He made sure the government followed them too. In 1914, the Emirate signed a peace paper with the Ottoman Empire. This was before a very big war started in the world. 6. Big wars and new borders. A big war started in the world called World War I. The Ottoman Empire was part of this war. The empire lost the war and finished in 1918. The end of World War I brought big changes for the Middle East. The Ottoman Empire was gone, and European countries became very strong in the region. Powers like Britain and France drew new lines on the map, creating new countries and borders in lands that were once Ottoman. They wanted to control these lands and their resources, though oil was not yet fully known about everywhere. In this changing time, a family called the Hashemites became important. They ruled in lands near Ibn Saud's land, like areas that would become Jordan and Iraq. European countries, especially Britain, supported the Hashemite family and helped them rule in these areas around the Arabian Peninsula. Ibn Saud ruled the Sultanate of Nejd. This new land was a threat to the Hashemites, and the Hashemites were a threat to him. They were rivals for power and land in the Arabian Peninsula after the Ottoman Empire was gone. So, Ibn Saud and the Hashemites fought for control. Ibn Saud's loyal soldiers, called the Ikhwan, fought well against the Hashemites in different areas. The Ikhwan also had some small fights near the borders with Iraq and Kuwait, which were lands under British influence. These border fights were a problem for the British. To stop these problems and make his borders clear, in 1922, Ibn Saud made agreements with Iraq and Kuwait about the borders. They created a neutral area between the Sultanate of Nejd and these countries in the north. Next, Ibn Saud focused on the Hijaz land, which was ruled by a Hashemite leader. This land was very important because it had the holy cities for Muslims, Mecca and Medina. Millions of Muslims wanted to visit these cities for pilgrimage. The Hashemite king there was named Husayn bin Ali. King Husayn made a claim that angered many people in the Muslim world. He said he was the leader of all Muslims everywhere, called the Caliph, after the Ottoman Caliphate ended. This big claim made countries and groups who were his friends stop helping him. So, when Ibn Saud attacked the Hijaz with his Ikhwan soldiers in 1924, the ruler was alone and had little support. Without help, the Hijaz ruler lost the fight. By 1926, Ibn Saud took control of the Hijaz land, including Mecca and Medina. Taking these important cities gave Ibn Saud's state great religious respect among Muslims. After taking the Hijaz, Ibn Saud's country changed its name again to show its new size and importance. It became the Kingdom of Hijaz and Nejd. This happened in 1926. In the next few months, important countries around the world like Britain, France, the Soviet Union, and the Netherlands accepted this new kingdom. They recognized it as a real country with real borders. Most Muslim leaders around the world also said it was a real kingdom, which was important for its future. This recognition helped make the new state strong. 7. Making one nation. The new kingdom needed other countries to accept it. A main reason was the Hajj, the very important trip for Muslims to the city of Mecca. Many Muslims came from many different countries for this trip. When crowds of people are together, sickness can spread easily from one person to another. Countries around the world were worried about this. They had big meetings about health and how to stop sickness from spreading across borders. The new kingdom was now in charge of the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. It also controlled all the main roads and paths people used to travel for the Hajj. So, other countries agreed to accept the new kingdom as long as it promised to help manage the Hajj trip and stop the spread of sickness. The kingdom started working on this. They began building health places like clinics and small hospitals along the pilgrim roads. This work was slow because the kingdom did not have much money at first, and medicine cost a lot. But making steady progress on health services helped the world agree to the new kingdom and leave it alone. Inside the country, there were still many different groups and tribes living in different ways. King Ibn Saud had a big goal. He wanted all these people to become one nation under one rule. He used religious ideas to help make this happen. He actively spread the teachings of Wahhabism across the land. These teachings said that many Muslims had stopped following the true path of Islam. They said the government had a duty to teach people the correct way to practice Islam, and that the Saudi government followed the only correct way. They stopped some old celebrations and practices that the government thought were wrong because they seemed like worshipping things other than God. In 1926, they even destroyed some old tombs in the city of Medina. These tombs held the bodies of important people from the time of the Prophet Muhammad and were places many Muslims visited to show respect. Breaking these tombs made many Muslims outside the kingdom angry, but inside the kingdom, it helped bring people together under the same strong religious ideas. For a long time, different tribes in the area often fought wars with each other. This made the land unsafe and caused problems. To stop this, the Saudi government made a new set of laws and a clear system. If someone broke a law from the central government, the leader of that person's tribe was told to punish them. If the tribe leader did not punish the person, then the leader of the next tribe nearby was told to step in and take action. If that second leader also failed to make the punishment happen, then King Ibn Saud would send his own army to deal with the situation. This new system for making sure laws were followed was very strong and clear. For the first time in many years, fighting between tribes and general lawlessness across the land was controlled. This brought a new kind of peace to the country. King Ibn Saud had a group of very loyal and religious fighters called the Ikhwan. They had helped him win many battles. The Ikhwan were very eager to keep fighting and spread their religious ideas to more lands. They wanted to fight until everyone followed Wahhabism. But by 1928, the kingdom was mostly formed, and Ibn Saud knew it was time to stop fighting outside wars and build the country. The Ikhwan did not agree with this idea. They started a revolt against the king. As part of their revolt, they also began attacking areas in the nearby countries of Iraq and Kuwait. King Ibn Saud did not want to start big problems with his neighbors, so he had to fight against his own Ikhwan fighters. After about 2 years of fighting, Ibn Saud defeated the Ikhwan in 1930. Winning against the Ikhwan was important. It showed that the king had the final control over the land and his fighters. This victory helped make the country more stable and strong. When the work of bringing all the lands under firm control was finished in 1932, the kingdom was given a new and final name. It was called the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This name honored the ruling family, the Al Saud. The land had become one nation under one ruler, 8, oil and a modern country. The country officially became the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on September 22, 1932. The flag had words that showed the important role of religion in the new nation. In the first few years, the country did not have much money. Most of its income came from people who came for the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca. But in the 1930s, the world faced a big economic problem called the Great Depression. Many people had less money, and this meant fewer pilgrims could travel. The government needed money very much. They began to look for other ways to get money. In 1933, they gave a company the right to search for oil in a certain area. They hoped to find oil there. At first, they did not find oil in that exact place, but the hope that oil was present helped them sell other rights to explore. Then in 1938, they found oil. It was not a small amount, but a huge reserve, one of the largest ever found in the world. In 1939, the country sent out its first oil on ships. Soon after, World War II started in Europe. Shipping oil became very dangerous because ships could be attacked. Saudi Arabia chose to stay neutral in the war. Some countries gave Saudi Arabia financial help during this time so that the oil would not be sold to their enemies. After the war finished, Saudi Arabia worked with companies from the United States. They formed a joint company called Aramco to take the oil from the ground and sell it. In the beginning, most of the money from Aramco went to the American companies. But the world situation changed with the start of the Cold War. The Soviet Union also wanted Saudi oil. Saudi Arabia used this situation to ask for more money from the oil. They talked with the U.S. companies and asked for a bigger share of the profits. They said they could sell the oil to others if they did not get a better deal. Slowly, Saudi Arabia got more and more money from the oil sales. By 1950, the government received 50% of the income from Aramco. The country now had significant wealth. This money from oil changed Saudi Arabia greatly. The government used the oil money to build a modern country. They built new roads that connected cities, modern schools for children, and good hospitals for health care. They built new cities, airports, and many modern buildings. This money paid for much new infrastructure and helped develop the nation quickly. Oil became the most important part of the Saudi economy. Because Saudi Arabia had so much oil, it became a very important country internationally. Many countries needed their oil. To help manage the price of oil in the world, Saudi Arabia helped create an organization called OPEC. This group includes the main countries that sell oil. They work together to decide how much oil to produce, which helps keep the price at a good level for them. Oil wealth helped change Saudi Arabia from a poor desert land into a modern and important country on the world stage.